it's Jessie. Sorry I've been gone the past few days. I haven't been very active, and I'm going to try to get back on a schedule. If you follow my Instagram, you will see that I've been gone to a convention these 4 days with my friends, and when I got back, I had to do some college homework because I've been really behind on it while I was gone for the 4 days. So I had the idea for this video for a while. It's gonna talk about a little bit about what BTS means to me. And towards the end of the video, I'll talk about a little bit about cultural differences and how that it can affect someone's understanding of BTS. So let's get started. This is gonna be more of a serious talk with you guys. I don't usually sit down and just talk. I usually do cover videos, but this is something different. And you see my cats in the background? They will be my audience today. So, to know what BTS means to me, I'll give you a little bit of backstory about who I am and what I've gone through. In high school, I think a lot of people deal with this sort of thing. Bullies, yeah. In high school, I was bullied a little bit, and I got really depressed during my high school years, and ever since middle school, I've always dealt with severe anxiety. So I've had really bad anxiety and doing a lot of different stuff and going to doctors, therapists, that sort of thing. And I found out about BTS in about 2015, after they released Not Today. And honestly, I fell in love with them, their music and who they were. I started learning more about them, and I started loving them even more. It was great because I think the one thing that really surprised me was where they came from. They started off in a small company, and they didn't have a lot of money for music videos. They didn't have money to get actors. They had to use managers. Fan signs that they didn't have a lot of money to do anything with that. They had to go to universities or parks because they couldn't afford a bigger space. They didn't have a lot of fans at that time, and they started from a small company. They didn't have a lot of promotion. They had to just do things all on their own. They didn't have a lot of clothes. They couldn't get expensive clothing. They had to reuse clothing, reuse props in their music videos, and they just started from the very very bottom, and they worked their way up. And I thought that was really cool because that kind of gives people inspiration that as long as you do what you love, you can try really, really hard, and you can get there if you just try really, really hard. I know not a lot of people, especially they were talking about in the K-pop industry, not a lot of people would have expected that someone not from the big three entertainment companies, which was, I don't remember who they were because it kind of changed now, but there's big three, and BTS, throughout the years, they worked their way up, and they were part of the first group from a small entertainment company to win, I think, Artist of the Year or Daesang or whatever. Yeah, they were the first ones to win that, and they just proved to everyone that just with a lot of hard work, you can get there yourself. So it was really interesting. It's almost like an inspiration to everyone, and I know it was inspiration to me because, I've grown up with a lot of self-conscious issues, and I don't have a lot of self-esteem, really shy, hard to really speak out and be who I am, and I've actually grown a lot more from that. And listening to their music and their lyrics of their struggles that they went through, I think what really caught me was when Suga released his song The Last, and reading his lyrics to The Last was just so... I could see myself in what he was talking about. Not about him being an idol, of course not. About him having social anxiety and having depression and just kind of feeling lost and that sort of thing. And that kind of really spoke to me. And I know probably it speaks to a lot of people because I know a lot of people have this kind of problem. They have depression, anxiety. And that was another big thing of why I really, really fell in love with BTS. Another thing is they were they started writing their own music from the very beginning. They were songwriters. They put their own twist into things, into their songs. They didn't just record a song that was given to them from a producer. They actually produced and wrote some of their own songs, and I thought that was really cool because there's a lot of K-pop groups that I do love. I love a lot of K-pop groups that do not have a hand in writing their own music, and I think writing your own music is really cool. And honestly, it kind of sets you apart from others. Not in like being better. I'm not saying that BTS is better because they write their own music. There's a lot of talented K-pop groups out there, and that's why I'm a fan of a lot of them, whether they write their own music or not. But I think BTS will always be my favorite because of that one reason. And they're just really humble at what they do. They don't expect the world for them. They grew up in a small company and they work their way up. I'm not surprised that they're humble, honestly. And now that they are rich and they have this fame, they still stay humble, which was really cool to hear. What else? I was trying to think. Cookie, will you help me think? Because I drew a blank. Because I'm still kind of awkward on camera a little bit. I think I talked about a lot of it. About that reason. Oh, okay, the culture differences. Let's talk about that a little bit. So, I know that a lot of cultures are different. So, especially in my experience, my parents were not fully on board with me liking BTS. They didn't support me liking BTS. They didn't like me watching them at all. Honestly, it's not really I wouldn't blame them for doing that because like for parents, BTS and the group BTS from Korea is just completely unknown to them. If you're not familiar with the Korean culture, it's just completely unknown, and honestly a lot of parents are just worried and they're like, I don't understand this. But they project their own not understanding, and they project their own like, not hatred, but like just they force their own views onto their kids, because if they don't like something, they want their kids to not like something. So, they'll kind of force things onto kids. And I know that may seem unfair, but you gotta look at it from their perspective. They're your parents and they love you, and they're just trying to protect you from something they don't understand. If you don't understand something, you're gonna feel very anxious about your kids watching something that you don't even understand. So if a parent doesn't understand Korean culture, then it's not a surprise that they will want to stop their kids from watching stuff like that or listening to stuff like that. And it may be hard for parents to even fully open up and, talk to their kids about their own problems, because not a lot of parents would probably do that. They probably like to keep it to themselves. But honestly, I would just try. I know I talked to my parents about what BTS was, and they weren't fully like on board with it until like recently, actually, is when they saw BTS perform on Billboard Music Awards and the Saturday Night Live. They started realizing, wow, these guys are really talented. And like they started like trying to understand more about who these guys are, and of course they're trying to compare them to the Beatles, which I don't mind. They're trying to just build a connection to who BTS are and to people that they know. And I can see that connection, because like BTS to me is like the Beatles to my parents. My parents were really big with the Beatles. They had like all their albums and they would just go to their concerts. That sort of thing is what BTS is to me. Of course, it's different cultures, and that's sort of the thing that parents need to understand, that just the cultures are different, but that doesn't really make their message any different. Like, for instance, one thing that probably parents do not like, and I know my parents wouldn't like it either, is a thing in Korea called fan service. Fan service is a thing that idols do to get a reaction from the audience, and it's only for the audience. And honestly, they probably don't have feelings for their members like that. They they interact in like a loving, romantic way just to get a reaction from the audience. So like more times than not, they're not in that sort of relationship. They're just trying to get a reaction from the audience. It's just trying to get some sort of reaction. So I wouldn't call them gay. I wouldn't call them. I wouldn't put into. I wouldn't say that they're homosexuals or any way, because you really can't decide because of that. Because Korean culture is completely different from ours, or from any other culture. Every culture has their own thing, and in Korea, they're more closer. I'd say like they would hug each other a lot more, and like they're more closer by they do like skin contact a lot, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they like each other in any like romantic way. That's just how their culture is. Like in some cultures, when you greet someone, I don't remember what culture it was. I don't even know what area it was. Maybe friends. I don't know. But where some cultures where you meet someone and they kiss you on your cheek. That may seem really weird and like, oh my god, that's so that might catch you off guard, but like that's their culture, and they're not used to anything other than that culture. So I know parents would probably get really upset with fan service. I know that that's a big thing, but I think parents need to, start understanding that it's just the cultures are different and each culture has a different thing. And also kids need to understand that parents who limit their time watching BTS or listening to BTS in the music or whatnot, they're just doing it because they love you and they want to protect you, because they don't fully understand what BTS is. But BTS, they bring a message of love yourself and love others, and I think that's a great message. And I think the only thing that parents really need to know about BTS is that they just want to spread the message of love yourself, love others, and they want to spread the message that it's okay to be yourself, and it's okay to have problems. It's okay to not be perfect. Like they talk about depression, anxiety. They talk about all these problems, about even money problems that they had in the past. They talk about all these problems and all these social issues, and it inspires a lot of kids, and especially for me, it inspires a lot of people to like start loving yourself and start, being more confident in what you do and just keep doing what you're doing. And I think that's the only big thing that parents really need to understand, is that BTS is an inspiration to all kids. To everyone who listens to them, they're an inspiration, because the messages in their music that they give is just so empowering, and it helps a lot of kids who are dealing with depression, anxiety, and just like body issues even. It helps a lot of people, feel more confident, and it helps their confidence. So kids who listen to BTS, and it just helps them so much. But kids who are limited in watching BTS or whatnot, and their parents who give them a hard time to not watch them or whatnot, never, this is a message for you too, never give up on what you love. Even because someone tells you, oh, that's not right to listen to, don't listen to it, I'm gonna stop you from listening to it. Never give up on what you love. I know people will always get in the way and tell you that you can't do something, or that it's just not right to listen to, but just listen to yourself. If you love something and you love, listening to BTS or other K-pop groups, go ahead and still do it. Honestly, it took a while for my parents to get into like the Korean music, because they're like, why do you listen to Korean music? You can't understand what they're saying. And honestly, that's just not the truth. Like, I can listen to Korean music and just look up the lyrics, and I can fully understand the story. I love the story that's behind the Korean lyrics, and I actually love learning some of the Korean words. It's actually very just interesting to me. But I can read the lyrics in English and I can fully understand what the story is telling me, and that's what I love about it. And music can, just like RM said, music can transcend, all cultures, different people. Like, music's universal, and everyone can enjoy music, and everyone has a story. And it doesn't matter if it's in a different language that you don't understand. And, it's just really cool. And that's why I love BTS. I love everything that their messages, I love everything about it. And I know that some people don't understand it, but that shouldn't stop you from watching or listening to BTS. No one should stop you from loving what you do. And you just keep being you, guys. Just keep being you. Okay, I'm gonna stop this little discussion before I get even more awkward, because this is one of the first times that I sat down and actually just talked in front of a camera. So it was very different for me, but honestly, I think it needed to be said because I know a lot of people deal with problems, and I know a lot of people have problems with accepting other cultures, and I just wanted to make a video about it. So I will see you guys later. I have an Instagram and Twitter, so be sure to follow me on there if you want to hear any updates about new things I'm doing. And I will see you guys later. Bye.